Hey guys, welcome back to the Guitar Max channel. So this video combines two of my favorite topics, Firefly guitars and Flying V guitars. You could say this is my Fireflying V video. Okay, so you guys probably know that I have talked about Firefly guitars many times in the past, and they make some of the most affordable guitars around. They've done a lot of different traditional style models like semi-hollow bodies and LPs and tellies and SGs, all kinds of stuff. But of course, being the metalhead that I am, I have been hoping and wishing that they would someday do more heavy metal friendly guitars. And now they have absolutely delivered on that with this awesome looking V-shaped guitar. Guys, look at this beauty. It's got a blue burst finish. They call this the blueberry finish. Zebra style pickups, perloid block inlays on a nice rosewood fretboard. Okay, but now guys, we gotta stop a second here because there is something very special about this guitar that I really want to focus in on at the beginning of the video, and that is the frets. They have started using a new method of making the frets for these guitars, and this is really, really nice. Look at these close-ups here. Look how rounded those fret ends are. And I'll tell you something, guys, this reminds me of some of the new eared headless guitars. Those have the same frets with that perfectly rounded sort of ball end fret. And here's the thing, right? This is a beautiful guitar with these amazing frets, and this guitar costs around $250. It's nuts. And if you guys are familiar with the Firefly brand, you'll know that $250 is actually pretty expensive for those guitars because they have many models that sell for less than $200. But the thing with this one is the difference in that price, the result of that is obvious. They have put the increased cost into the fretwork, and it really shows. Some of those less expensive models, they still have the cool finishes like this one does, but they just have standard frets. Now, to be totally honest, I'm not actually 100% sure how they are doing these fret ends. I have a suspicion though, and this is just me speculating, I have a suspicion that they are actually finishing the ends of the frets before they actually put them on the fretboard. It's like measure twice, cut once, right? So you know which piece of fret wire is going to be in which position on the neck, and you measure it all really carefully. You have all the frets laid out sort of in position ahead of time. Then they do the fret ends, and then they put them on the guitar. And that allows them to get those really nice rounded fret ends without leaving any marks on the binding or the fretboard. Now again, I have not been able to confirm that, but I think that's what they're doing. Okay, now the rest of the specs here, I mean, it's a mahogany body and a mahogany neck, rosewood fretboard, it's 22 frets, and the body is sort of an asymmetrical V. So unlike a traditional Gibson Flying V, which has both horns exactly the same length, this lower horn here is slightly shorter, so it's not an exact copy of a Gibson Flying V. Okay, so there are some other specs that I'm going to go over in a second here, including some measurements of the neck and that kind of stuff. But of course, we want to listen to how the guitar sounds. So I'm going to go ahead and plug it in, and we'll go through a demo, and then we'll talk about that other stuff after the demo. Now, real quick, guys, as always, if you enjoy videos like this, checking out cool new affordable guitars, and also staying up on the latest releases in the guitar world, and you have not already subscribed, please consider subscribing right now. Okay, let's plug it in, and I'm going to use my trusty Fender GTX 100 amplifier for this demo. We'll listen to how it sounds. Let's check it out. Okay guys, so let's talk about some other specs of this guitar and of course the sound and playability of it. So as far as the playability, obviously these nice fret ends do make quite a difference on how the neck feels. And you can feel each individual fret very clearly when you run your hand across it, if that makes sense, like when your hand is shifting around. But at the same time, they're so smooth that your fingertips just sort of glide over the ends of the frets. And I really like that. I mean, one of the worst things is to get a really cool guitar that has really nasty, sharp fret ends on it. And that is just, I mean, nothing of the sort is going on with this guitar. Now, the measurements of the neck I took earlier. It's a 43 millimeter nut. And right here on around the first fret, it's about 23 millimeters. And then it would get slightly thicker up here as you go towards the body. This was about 24 millimeters. Now, it's a full C-shape profile neck. And this neck reminds me a lot of the Firefly SG, which I actually have sitting back here. And so if you bought one of those guitars and you liked the neck, this neck feels pretty much the same, only they've got the upgraded frets on it. And to be totally honest, I would say the sound is pretty similar to that as well. These pickups are, they're fairly hot and they're pretty kind of, I don't want to say vintage, but kind of open sounding pickups, if you know what I mean. Pretty nice mid-range, not too much in the way of high end, but pretty kind of focused upper mid-range and low mid-range. And so like there's some nice harmonics, especially when you're playing further down on the neck. It sounds really nice. So the other important thing with this guitar is the weight and balance of it. Now, I weighed this guitar. It came in at a little bit under 7 pounds. Mine is about 6.9 pounds. And which, for a guitar like this is fairly light, I would say. It's, there are a lot of Strats that are around 6 or 7 pounds. And also, I will show you a clip of me standing up with this guitar with a strap. And this guitar actually balances very well for a flying V. Most flying Vs, to be totally honest, are pretty neck heavy. Like they have a lot of neck dive. This one was surprisingly good in terms of the balance. I mean, it keeps the neck up. It doesn't really move one way or the other. I was kind of expecting this guitar to have some neck dive, and it really didn't. Now, there are a couple of negative things about this guitar. One of them just has to do with the shape of the guitar, and that is basically that you're going to need a special case for this guitar. I mean, that should be obvious, right? And cases for flying V style guitars are not nearly as common as a case for a Les Paul or a Strat or a Tele or something like that. And hard cases for flying V style guitars can be quite expensive. But one upshot here is that even though the body on this guitar is not an exact copy of like a Gibson or Epiphone flying V, it's close enough that it will fit in one of those cases. And as an example, I've got it's like a soft case that I've got for my Epiphone flying V, and this guitar fits in there just perfectly. Now, the other negative of this guitar has to do with the output jack placement, which is right down here. Maybe this is something that the company will consider changing in the future. I understand why they put the jack down here, because when you're standing up with the guitar, the plug goes in at a downwards angle, and that keeps it from getting, from the cable getting pulled out while you're playing standing up. The big problem with that, though, is that when you play one of these guitars sitting down, you have to put the guitar, like the lower horn of the guitar, kind of between your legs, right? And if you have a straight cable, you can't even hold the guitar at all because the cable comes right out where your leg is. Now, you can use a 90-degree jack cable, and that makes it possible to where you can actually then play the guitar sitting down if you use a 90-degree cable. But even the end of the cable is still pressing up against your leg, and you can feel it. So this is a problem that you can get around, but this output jack location is definitely not ideal. I think having it on the surface of the body or on the lower horn is really the way to go. And now the other thing I want to show you guys real quick is a quick picture inside of the back cavity of this guitar. I know there are a lot of people paying attention to, Firefly fans paying attention to this video, and they want to see all the details, so there you go. All right, guys, so there's just a couple of quick things that I almost forgot to put in the video. One is that these guitars include an optional pick guard. The guitar comes without the pickguard, but they include it in the box with the guitar, so you can use it if you want to. Now the other thing has to do with the guitar box itself that the guitar comes in. They did a really good job with the packaging on this guitar because it's just a single box, but then the box has a really heavy-duty styrofoam insert that the guitar fits into. So these guitars seem like they're pretty well protected for shipping. Okay guys, so there are many different color options available for this guitar. Of course, I'm going to have links in the video description below. And they also have an Explorer type guitar that they brought out at the same time, which I think basically has the same construction as this one, but with a different body shape. Now, I didn't get one of those, but I would expect it to be about the same in terms of quality as this one is. Okay, honestly guys, it has been really cool to see how this company has grown over the past few years. I remember checking out, their original semi-hollow, like the 338 model, way back in the day. I want to say it was like 2017 or something like that. And now, the company has all these different electric models and even some acoustics as well. And because I know there are so many people out there who are crazy about these guitars, of course, I would love to hear from any other Firefly owners out there who have purchased one of these new Flying V models or one of the Explorer type guitars. What do you guys think of those guitars? What do you guys think of the new frets? I would love to hear from you in the comments section below. Okay guys, that is it for my Firefly V video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to have links for everything I was talking about in the video down in the video description below. The guitar, the case I was talking about, the other Explorer type guitar, the amplifiers using, all that stuff. And guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you soon.